Oh, you didn't? I got my fucking bag. Right there, everybody. We got in here 5 phrase from the Providence Plantations, the wordsmith, Melissa Davis, 793rd SW, Knowledge, Wise You. Sometimes when you click on the stream, you get an error message that shows a monkey with a hammer on it. Can't call it what that's about. Everybody make sure they doing the each one teach one. When you come in, so the rest of the notifications could go out. Halftime came in. 5 phrase said he got his notification today. You know, I mean, it happens. But what the consistent pattern has been is that we gotta the consistent pattern is that we gotta send alerts out on our home by hitting the like button and sharing the stream, comments, all of that. Reality. So yeah, today, man, social equality and relating to people, because that's what the social equality is. You know what I'm saying? Just like you got all worlds from highest to lowest, right? And each one of the worlds, the equality is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Like the equality that you deal with your family, this is not necessarily the same equality that you deal with people, out in society. The equality that you take for yourself, that might not be the equality, like, look, this right here is mine. I'm gonna handle what I have to handle, right? And then whatever is excess from that, you could have that. These different ways that how we relate to people, man, this is what the social equality is about. You know what I'm saying? When we say, why does the devil keep our people apart from their own social equality? Why he treat us different than he treat his own people? Which, I mean, that's kind of for me at least, the answer to that is obvious. They're his own people and you not. Sometimes our expectations, right, of can be a little bit off, and we think it's the person. You see, a lot of times you hear people say that, yo, money changed that person. No, money changed you. They changed your expectations of what you want from that person. And see, before that person could walk down the block, and you just say, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Or, yo, this, that, boo, 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 y'all go on talking. But see, now that person get a couple dollars and they walk down the block. See, that's really you that changed. The person, they ain't giving you nothing because they walking down the block the same way they was. But that's a different type of equality. Now let's say you got a question. What's the question? Uh, are New York schools reopening in April? That's actually a good question. I was just talking about this topic with my daughter where I was like, man, this is not looking good. I would look, there's no plan to open the schools back in April, and it really would just be something where, like, look, man, just go ahead and take that L. Like, will you open back up in April for? You're gonna have April, May, and then June. Like, that's school is over the first week in June. So, by the time you really just got them back, you just torturing the kids now. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, I was talking to my daughter. She actually likes school, but she was like, yeah, right now, I don't know about going back. Like, I don't want to have to get up. I don't want to have to get up at 6 a.m. and get, ready and dressed and all of that, and then be over there and go through the cold. Like, I'm not used to it now. So, like I said, and she's good. She's a straight A student. So imagine the people who really don't enjoy it over there. Uh, but there's no plans. We got De Blasio for a mayor. You got to, that's a little bit different situation than other places y'all might don't recognize. But trust me, you don't want De Blasio. You don't want De Blasio for your mayor. You know what I'm saying? That's a level of social equality, you know. Um, but you know, a lot of things. I was looking at the news. I saw a story, and I'm actually glad that I did go live because at the time I was a little bit more. I was kind of heated. But did anybody see the story about the guy who wants to? He said he wants to cancel. He wants to cancel Black History Month. Did anybody see that story? Guy who was he wants to run for governor of Michigan on a Republican ticket. You know, I'm pretty sure he's destroyed any chances he had of becoming governor now after saying that. But did anybody see that? You know, things like that. When I start seeing these types of things, that's what kind of sparked. Like, you know, what kind of social equality is this that our own people, yeah, African guy. But I will tell you one thing that he did by doing that. You know, I was always one of the people that I never, liked Black History Month. Like from the first time I heard about it, first I had a misunderstanding. Like we come into the class one day. That's the first I heard about it. I go to school one day, and the teacher says, this is Black History Month. So at the time, I thought, because just they started explaining we're gonna learn all the stuff about Black history. I thought they was trying to say that everything that Black people did happened in the month of February. You know what I'm saying? And me already being, type of having a type of mind where, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not possible. You know what I'm saying? Um, so, from the jump, I was like, yo, this is bogus. Like how could we spend all this other time talking about everything else? How could you say that everything happened in the month of February? But then, of course, over time, as I came to understand, I still had a lot of reasons where I was like, this is like a commercial thing. But when he made the statements that he made about Black History Month, it finally showed me why we need to have Black History Month. That he took me from, so I wouldn't say I was a detractor, like you don't hear me, going around saying, forget about Black History Month. But at the same time, if you notice, we halfway through the month, and it's the first time I brought up Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? We passed Black History Month last year. The first year I was doing the lives. You notice I said nothing. I said nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Divine Truth came in. Nah, this was an original man. He's from continental Africa. Uh, and well, he said he wanted he had it his point of view on why he wanted to cancel it was that it shows that it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? It shows preferential treatment to Black people in America, and it's not telling the immigrant story of everybody having you know, migrated to America and whatever the different struggles that they went through. You know what I'm saying? Um, while that's a whole other conversation, we get into that another time. You know, if somebody can lack that level of knowledge and understanding about the situation here, then that shows why there does need to be a Black History Month, in my opinion. That he illustrated the purpose for it. Is that there's always going to be uh, people, a lot of times we do that, even as in the nation, where, because I know better than to fall for certain things, right? Then sometimes I forget about the fact that there's other people that just got the knowledge yesterday, and they don't know better than to fall for the okie doke. You know what I'm saying? The same reason that, we haven't outgrown, 120 lessons, because you got the person who's been doing this 30, 40, 50 years, right? But you still have the person who is just now getting introduced to this, or at least what this is really about. You probably heard uh, some records, you hear music or things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't really, so sometimes those simple things, the most simplistic of things that you think, well, yeah, everybody knows that. Not everybody doesn't know that. But that was it illustrated certain things, about our social equality amongst each other. You understand what I'm saying? And if social equality is not developed, see, like on other levels, right? Europeans, they don't see. Look at the European Union. This is kind of a side subject, but I'm saying when you look, the only reason I'm saying that, look at the European Union, is you can see they got a whole bunch of fighting and separation amongst each other. But the social equality, right, of, and the religious equality of them sharing Christianity, and the social equality of them, uh, elevating their societies at the expense of all other societies, right? They can come together on that. See, we got so many divisions between us, you know what I'm saying? Whether which continent you from, nationality, religion, complexion, height, weight, et cetera, right? That we haven't formed a social equality that, even when we deal with whatever levels, you take it to the political levels, right? And you say, okay, by this date or whatever, we're supposed to be a majority of the voting population. But if no social equality exists, you understand what I'm saying? See, that's what it comes down to, is that, see, other people, see, the Chinese, they establish a certain social equality. But see, like right now in Africa, you got 1 billion people, but they don't really have no social equality established. See, it's less than 1 billion Europeans, the last time I checked. But see, they have a strong enough social equality, right, that they still able to, dominate, on the social level. You know, So it just is there's some type of building that has to be done. That was one thing that I seen through that right there. That there's some type of building, there's some type of education that's not occurring, right? There's some type of education that's not occurring in terms of, what and how the devil is made, and what and how you know the the world that we want to see is going to be manifested. And catch up with y'all over here in the comments. 793rd said Carter G. Woodson didn't want it to be just a month. They chose to try and highlight what they chose during the shortest month. Well, originally, from what I understand, it was a week when Carter G. Woodson first established it, and he wanted it to be February because Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass was born in February. You know, I haven't done extensive research on it, but the little bit that I did, I learned that. SW said I had an African American history children's book archive at home, everything from Matthew Henson and his expeditions to Dizzy Gillespie, Crispy Sadix, and everything in between. You know, oddly enough, I never really had a set of books like that. And like I look back all the time and I try to figure out where I started developing certain kinds of views. I really can't pinpoint it, but like, you know, one of the earliest, you know, I don't know if y'all can tell, but you know, I don't, you know, I've always been one to question authority. And you know, one of the first times that happened was you know, we were sitting in class and we were sitting in class and I asked the teacher why was some of the hieroglyphics, why was they in white? Like why was white people on the hieroglyphics in Egypt? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I really can't say how exactly, but you know, I never like hearing about Egypt being a part of the Middle East and all this other stuff. That's something that I learned about much later. You know what I'm saying? So I knew these things. I can't recall like how I learned them though. That's odd. To me at least. SW said it's because it excludes Africans of the continent. Are you saying that Black History Month excludes Africans of the continent? I mean, I see what you're saying, but I just don't understand where that's coming from. Meaning, the reality is just like I'm saying that, you know, you can't simplify Black history down to just a month, right? At this point, you can't simplify it down to one story either. Like that's just the reality of the situation. Is that, you know, these last 700 years, you know, we developed in a whole bunch of different ways. You know what I'm saying? Under different political systems, different educational systems, different religious doctrines, you know, different geographical locations, you know, different cultural influences. And so, yeah, it's going to be, you know, specific stories. You know, it's just something I you know, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it reaches to a level, right? Like there's one thing for you to lack the knowledge of what happened, right? There's another thing when you know, are attempting to dismantle the accomplishments, right, of original people here in the wilderness in North America, you know, just because you wasn't down, like you wasn't present when that occurred. Let's say right now, if a group of brothers go somewhere and they do a whole bunch of teaching, and then a whole bunch of great things happen in that location because of the teaching that brothers did over there, and then I come out and belittle it because I wasn't one of those group of, I wasn't a part of that group of brothers that went over there and did that. Like I hate to say it, but there's the crab in a barrel mentality on full display, in that circumstance. Melissa Davis says some Black people don't think it's a good idea to have it. They say there's no Mexican, Puerto Rican man, etc. Why Black men? This is false. This is part of the issue. That no, why don't you come to New York, right, and tell them you want to eliminate the Puerto Rican Day Parade? Why don't you go down there and tell them you want to eliminate the West Indian Day Festival? Why don't you go and tell them you want to get rid of Cinco de Mayo? See, none of those things is necessarily telling you the story of any real thing American. Whereas our story is telling you specifically about American history. See, that sounds good when you don't really consider it. But there's a whole bunch of things that occur, I wouldn't say every day. But here in New York, there's Italian, what you call it, the San Gennaro Festival. How long is the San Gennaro Festival? Giuliani came in and said there was a whole bunch of corruption in, and so it got cut down. But you think the Chinese don't be down in Chinatown celebrating Chinese New Year? These things exist for all other kinds of people, but for some reason you came. See, that's also, and not saying that's what you're doing, I'm saying that's what he's doing, is you come in and you being the ace boon coon, you being the ace boon coon, right? By attacking the people who you think is the most powerless. So you wouldn't say that right now. You wouldn't say that right now to the Mexicans. You understand what I'm saying? The reality is, yeah, those immigrant populations, their celebrations is smaller because they wasn't a part of the whole American history like us. Their stories, what they telling of you came here from Switzerland in 1870, no, that's not as much a part of American history as the history of Black people here in America. So, I would say that's a matter of perspective. Knowledge said, I'm just not with the highlights of the Black people. We've been great. White folks make it tacky. I mean, that is an issue that I have with it. You know what I'm saying? But that's the initiative that we got to take. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, like, I see what you're saying in terms of they're gonna show you certain people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to take away from him, but he's not my favorite person. Jackie Robinson, they'll show you somebody like Jackie Robinson, who, while, his accomplishment was great, part of his accomplishment was also conforming. They're going to show you heroes, who conformed, to racism at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna show you as many heroes who which and that's coming up on another topic, something else that I saw um that I want to get into. How did anybody see Judas in the Black Messiah? This is the movie about Fred Hampton and the guy who was he was the government informant, but he was really like an operative because he's actively doing things. It's not like he's just there with a wire on. So you get a double dose. You get a double dose of Jackie Robinson, and then you might hear the name Fred Hampton. You know what I'm saying? And I could be missing the point right here myself, but it's our duty to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying as original people to get the those other stories out there. Not to say take away from Jackie Robinson and whoever got inspiration from that. You know what I'm saying? But also to acknowledge that some of this was accomplished by people where it wasn't so pretty. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, this eloquent speech, eloquent list of speeches that we could bring up, in everything seems rosy. That some of this was established the old-fashioned way. The brothers had to earn it with, time in jail, being shot up, murdered. But that don't reflect it doesn't reflect the image, that through, democracy and morals and Christianity, that as a society, they overcame their racism and overcame slavery. See, that don't tell the story if there was people who had to fight you and die just for you to do this, then they don't tell the same story. That is because of your altruistic nature and your Christian values and morals, that this is why y'all stop. And then even saying that they stop, that's a strong word. SW said you ignored it. I'm gonna tell you why I think it's important not to ignore it. This is something, and I could be blown this out of proportion, but let's look at, right now we in this historic time, right, where Black people are being elected. You know what I'm saying? You got Obama. Now you got Kamala Harris. So I'm saying, if individuals from the immigrant experience, right? If individuals from the immigrant experience is going to be placed in positions of power, right? And yet they don't know and understand the situation, right, that we in and how the situation was created. That's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue. Like, if you're going to continue to put people in positions of power, and look,
I think it's a consideration that we have to put in place. That, this guy came in, he's rough around the edges. So he came out and said things in a way, right? You came out and you spoke that dog whistle language. Now they might say, that was a dog whistle to people who is of a certain mindset. They're gonna respond to what he said in a particular way. To the rest of us, right, who don't have that particular mindset, it just sounds like a set of words. So when you come in, and I'm saying, and you got to think, I'm saying you in Michigan. So you didn't come in and say, look, man, when I'm in there in the first 100 days, right, I'm going to see what the situation is with the water in Flint. Like, I'm going to have a plan to get those people clean water. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we got to do, we're going to have a study. We're going to see what we got to do, but we're going to have some clean water to them people. That's in my top priority. That's not what you said. So you had the same thing with Kamala Harris. I would never pass a law that only benefited Black people. And then you got Obama saying, well, I got to be the president for everybody. I can't just be the president for Black people. So y'all all speaking this dog whistle language that signifies the master that, yeah, you can let me sleep in the house. These other Negroes over here, yeah, nah, keep them out in the back. And I'm gonna help you keep them out in the back. And so that's why I think it's an important issue. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna deal with that level of social equality, meaning if we're gonna say, okay, y'all the original man, we the original man, we here, look, if you got this degree right here, you got this qualification, right? Then we will elect you, right, to a position of power in our community. Then this is gonna be an issue. I never took it myself because I didn't need to. But, from what I understand, you got to take a little lightweight history course when you're dealing with immigration into the country. In order for you to get your green card or whatever, your citizenship, you got to take a little lightweight history course. You got to know who George Washington is. You got to know what the Revolutionary War is. You got to know who Abraham Lincoln. You got to know who's the people, man, who took the bullets for this, just for you to be here. And so, like I said, this is a little bit position of higher responsibility. You understand what I'm saying? So, that's why I think it's important, because of the social equality that's being established right now, especially that, you got the internet kind of breaking down the walls to these different communities within the Black community. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, West Indians, even in the West Indies, you know what I'm saying? Jamaicans might not interact with Trinidadians all that much. You understand what I'm saying? Arubans, they might not interact with Antiguans like that. But now that, we are interacting and all of our, the culture is developing the same way we develop into kind of one tribe over here, right? For the many tribes that came over here, right? Now that, we got more brothers and sisters adding in, we're becoming the tribe is growing and developing in ways. We gotta you know, we gotta establish a social equality amongst ourselves, or how we gonna expect the social equality with the colored man to ever go right? Christopher Gooding. Yeah, everybody do the each one teach one, hit the like button real quick. Melissa Davis said that she didn't see the movie yet for Judas and Judas and the Black Messiah, but that some of the actors said they needed therapy afterwards. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at too. You know what I'm saying? Why there needs to be Black History Month, because you got people that's coming and it's like you act in a movie. And don't get me wrong, you gotta invoke all these emotions and all that. So I can understand how you a little bit more part of it, or you see the movie and you shed tears, but you gotta realize that this was these people everyday life. Like if you gotta need therapy after 2 or 3 months of filming, or however long it took for them to film this, right? Imagine the people who live through that every day, day in, day out. And so, I'm just now understanding, after that brother said that yeah, this is this month is a little more important than uh I initially thought. You know what I'm saying? And it made me look at it even from that too. I didn't really wasn't looking at it from the context of, when Cardi G. Woodson is coming up with this, a large portion of the Black population is not even literate. So a lot of these things and a lot of these people that's in Black history, Black people knew more about the Bible and the stories in the Bible than they knew about their own stories. You understand what I'm saying? Without knowing that, now we had our own Davids, more than one. We had our own Musas. We had our own people that came in and did these same great these same great historical things for us that's actually real. But you would never know it if there was no time that was kind of devoted to that. Tommy Robinson. Oh man, that's a good shot right there. She said Kamala be skinning and grinning. Kamala be skinning and grinning. Supreme Divine. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, that's one issue, you know what I'm saying, about the social equality. especially at a time when, it's a different type of awakening happening right now. I don't agree with all the things that people is being awakened to. You know what I'm saying? But it's a different type of awakening going on right now where brothers and sisters is re-examining everything that we've been told about the history. You know what I'm saying? And brothers is coming out with concrete ways, uh, in terms of, going at the reparations, et cetera, et cetera. Brothers is coming up with concrete ways to bring about some solutions, And so if you got those amongst us, who's working against that, then that's clearly something we got to deal with within our social equality. But getting into the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, that also, because remember it was a story not too long ago I was reading about these people and how they covered the Capitol riots. You know what I'm saying? What is that saying about the social equality right there? That a movie like that would come out. Because the way I look at it, there's two ways to see it. You know what I mean? It could represent a shift. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps a shift in the amount of original people that's in the media. Perhaps a shift in the mindset of the colored people that control the media. But it could also just signify that, listen, right now we need this paper. And, you people respond to this type of stuff. Like, that's what we've seen, that, we put out a little Black Panther or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, I get a little black fist in the air. We a little bit concerned for maybe a month or two. But then that's going to wear away. But in the meantime, all of y'all are going to respond to this in a way where we get paid. What is Tommy Robinson said best film since Malcolm X? Well, I'm not that into movies, so that's a little bit more difficult for me to say. Peace. All right. So that's a little more difficult for me to get into. I did think it was a good movie. You know what I'm saying? I liked it. Well, this is a Hotep channel, so I'll leave that part alone. But what do y'all think in terms of that? In terms of what type of messages do you think it delivered? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think it was something where it's like, yes, it's okay. It's okay to do a story about that because it has the same ending. It has the same ending where, the brother got returned before any of his solutions had a chance to get implemented. And so it leaves us you know, and I'm not one of the people that's against making movies like that for that purpose. You know, to me, that is that, you know, you're not gonna tell. I'm like, you know, it's not like it's not possible. But the vast majority of stories, if you're going to tell them about Black people, then yeah, struggle is going to be included in that, because that's the history. We didn't come here for political freedom or religious freedom or economic opportunity. Say here. Now, Jalal said, did you see the trailer for One Night in Miami? Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali? Nah, I didn't see that one. Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali? Nah, I didn't see that one. Divine Truth said a good movie is the 24th. What's the 24th? I didn't catch that one. But see, this is what I'm saying, you know, with all these different movies right now, you know, is this signaling a shift in the social equality? Or is it just an opportunity? Is it just an opportunity to get paid? So the Malcolm X Muhammad Ali movie is on Amazon Prime.
So as I was gonna say, it's gonna aggressively allow you to get away. The way it works is, you see how you had the berries and all that and the other thing.
Yo, Kai.
This thing is gonna be a lot more on this. Appreciate talking to you.
I'm doing the class.
Yes, situation you're just gonna be aggressive to get it done.
And what is the 24th? Smell Goods came in. Make sure you hit that like button. You still there, Divine Truth? We trying to figure out what the 24th is. Tommy Robinson said we're being programmed to learn visually
So what you think we being programmed with these types of films coming out? The wordsmith said, I like the Malcolm X Spike Lee movie. However, a lot of the movie didn't harmonize with what was in the Alex Haley book. So the 24th is based on what happened in 1917 in the army with the original man. What, I mean, a lot of things happen. What specific aspect? Still there, Divine Truth? Which particular aspect of the original man being in the army in 1917 is this movie about? District 120? And Tommy Robinson, what is it that we being programmed with? Is anyone there? Can y'all hear me? Just Don Bishop and Mr. Spot. PC Realm. PC Realm, you had some questions that you sent me. You had some questions that you sent me in the Instagram, but I didn't really understand what you was asking. Tommy Robinson said it's all propaganda when you see a business on TV
And when you go outside, you look for a Benz. So, I mean, I understand that aspect, but I'm just saying, like, what are we being programmed with? Um, like, what is it that we're gonna go outside and look for after seeing that movie? Because it definitely could be having that effect, you know. But I'm saying, also looking at the context of the last, year, of all the different protests that has been, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you a little bit late, VC round. We already started the conversation on Judas and the Black Messiah, but what did you think of it? Wordsmith said in the Malcolm X movie, he was introduced to Islam by a fellow inmate, but in the book, it was his brother Herbert who introduced him to Islam during a visit. That's just one example of where the movie diverged from the book. I mean, you know, that's actual, but PC Real says, I can't get over how they drugged Fred Hampton to sleep and killed him. Um, I mean, what part coward move? I mean, you see, for me, it's one of those situations where you got to realize what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Like we look at TV and you see the movies with Tom Cruise and whatever comedian, and you have a certain kind of idea, but let's not forget, man, these people killed. They killed, they maimed, they pillaged, they raped in order to establish, this world order. You understand what I'm saying? In order for uh, this is what they teach us about when you go to history, right? A huge portion of it is about wars. So sometimes I think, when you just, you watching the news and you know what I'm saying, you watching CNN and MSNBC and you see everybody with their nice suits on, that you forget about how ruthless these cats could be. They don't have on hoodies, they don't have on, you know, uh, the type of wears that we used to seeing that we might make us a little bit, it'll heighten our awareness of our surroundings if we see certain people with certain clothes on, or you hear them speaking a certain kind of way. But I mean, did you make the movie or something? You said that based on events that happened with the original man in the army in 1917 in Texas. I'm saying what happened with the original man in the army in 1917 in Texas. PC Ram said everybody else gets drugged out on dog food or they get jailed forever. Um, I mean, like I said, they got is many different tactics that they use to neutralize somebody that they see as the enemy of the state. You said anybody see a TV show based in the UK, how they was doing black people over there in the 60s to the 80s? It's got the woman who played Black Panther's sister in it. No, I didn't see that. Divine Truth said a few of the brothers in the army in 1917 were violated by the police when they went into the city and they went and started killing the police and some civilians. Yeah, you know something, I did hear about this. I heard about that situation. Shamaj, what's the deal? But I'm still, Tommy Robinson. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I mean, you gotta be you gotta be specific. You know what I'm saying? Like when you you know, send your child outside, you can say be careful, but then you can say specific, like, look, be careful, man. Make sure when you cross the street that that the light is green for you. So that's what I'm saying. You saying that it's there's propaganda in the images, but I'm saying, what are these images? Like, these are specific images that you know, is no question that people respond to them. People that don't have the mental defenses, right, to make a difference between what they seeing on TV and what can be their reality. Right? These people is going to be they susceptible to that. So that's why I'm asking, what are these images that they putting out right now? What do you think will be the impact, let's say in 15 years, 10 or 15 years, when kids that's right now, they might be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they see this movie, right? What do you think will be the outcome? Yeah, that's what I was saying, Divine Truth. You acting like you don't want to spoil. You acting like you don't want to spoil the movie. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, just in terms of the history, the movie may be entertaining. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of the history that's behind the movie, you know what I'm saying? These things, like I said, I'm starting to see from the social equality that we developing amongst the original people. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, the rest of the diaspora, right? You know, the African diaspora, whatever, the rest of the diaspora is starting to have an impact on what's going on here in the United States of America, right? And at the same time, there's already something going on here in the United States of America. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, if you an immigrant Black person, you didn't discover being Black in America any more than Columbus discovered America when you got here, right? We was already fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. Now, there may be certain things in our strategy, it might be certain things in our planning, it might be certain things in our execution that you can add on to, right? But you can't come and just destroy the social equality that we built for ourselves already. True self. So you're saying that Small Acts, VC Realm says Small Acts is the name of this TV show where it shows how the Black people was done in England. It shows the politics, the judicial system. Tommy Robinson said the fact that you can love everybody but trust nobody. Um, so you think it's the ultimate, you think that one of the outcomes of this is gonna be that is gonna add on to the lack of trust amongst original people? True self said, when you knowledge your power, you can see how to deal equally in all things. PC Rum said how Blacks start getting more involved to try and counter what the colored man was on. I mean, I don't disagree with y'all. I'm saying y'all got to develop these ideas, man. Y'all got to develop these ideas, man. You understand what I'm saying? When you look at it today in the alphabet, what's that? So you got to be able to tell. First of all, you got to be able to determine for yourself what's going on around you, right? Of course, you got to know what's going on inside you first, but you got to be able to determine for yourself what's going on around you, right? And you got to be able to teach other people about what's going on around you. See, when you deal with other things, right, that you spend your time complaining about, like, see, Christianity, that's what it does. Now, it may be a poor explanation. You may be able to show and prove that they don't specifically know what they're talking about. But when they give you these stories about, the how the sun came into existence, how the moon came into existence, the animals that we got is because Noah saved them on the ark. It's seeking to explain to you the things that's going on around you. So that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes, you get caught up in a particular theme, but everybody don't have your mindset. I'm talking about the people that we got to go out there and teach. So you can say, yo, it's giving you, at all times, the devil, all this. Yeah, but what specifically do that mean? You understand what I'm saying? Because if you don't know and you don't know what to look out for, right? Then you end up just like right now, we look at Africa, right? And we say, well, yo, how could y'all be accepting the Chinese? You know what I'm saying? When you can see that the same imperialistic tendencies, right, is being manifested from them that y'all have seen multiple times in the last centuries. Yeah, but if you don't know specifically what you're looking for, I just tell you, look, be careful. But I don't give you, none of the actual knowledge of what it is that you might come up against. This is a formula. This is a formula. Look, this is a part of what I'm saying. Social equality and how you relate to the people. You know, when you're dealing with your personal movements, you could do it a certain way. But when you actually talking about something where governing, we talking about governing a large group of people, right? A society of men, women, and children, right? This has got to be specific. In order for you to say we got laws that say this and laws that say you shouldn't do that, this has got to be specific. See, when you look in the Constitution, they tell you in there, this is how we're going to deal with each group of people. This is how we're going to deal with citizens. This is how we're going to deal with slaves. This is how we're going to deal with women. This is how we're going to deal with indentured servants. This is how we're going to deal with Indians, et cetera, et cetera. So see, if our idea of the society that we want to build is vague, right, without a lot of understanding, then we're going to end up talking about society in terms where we don't know and understand what and how things is happening. Reality said, just as we are seeing the awakening of the masses to lies of Christianity, so are some of the truths of the devil and his social equality are being exposed as well. I mean, this is true. We also got to recall, we got to keep in mind that uh, the first law of nature is self-preservation. And so, what's their motivation? Like, what is the motivation of Hollywood to put these movies out? So like, I'll give you a perfect example of something that I drew up uh, that happened in the 90s. You see, after you had those LA riots, right? The system realized that all those people that's out there on the street, those are the people that saw roots. Those are the people that saw roots when they was young, and it formed a certain mindset where these cats is militant. And then right after that is when you started building up to this reality TV world you in now, where, the people is carefree and, all they do all day is go have drinks here, drinks there, you know, pop off with each other, this kind of, this kind of entertainment where the problems, the issues that we dealing with is not the same. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that every episode of Good Times was like watching a Black Panther speech. But I'm saying that the problems that existed within the Black community, right, was on that show. Even What's Happening. That was a comedy show too. It was light. It wasn't necessarily, like listening to a Malcolm X speech. But the problems of the Black community was in that, it was included in the show. Whereas when you look at reality TV, everybody on there's got money. Everybody's balling, everybody's got all the clothes, all the shades, everything that they need and want, right? And it's a carefree type of life. Everybody's a business owner. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's having issues at the job. Like James Evans come in the house and he's had issues with the job. And, what I saw at the time, right, from being there before that and after that, was that that's what changed. That all of a sudden they start giving out all this money in different fields. Like if you look at how much the average NBA player was making, right, before those riots, and you look at the money that started going into it after. You look at the money that rappers was making before, and you look at the money they started making after. You understand what I'm saying? And one thing that did is it changed what those people was talking about. So it went from, athletes and artists that was talking about the plight of original people and how much of a struggle it was, right? To talking about how much they was balling. So I'm saying right now, we've had a little minute, I would say even going back at least to Black Panther, right? Where we've been seeing we've been seeing this particular type of movie, little different images. What is that saying about the social equality? See, because sometimes you got to be aware of that. You got to be aware of how society is moving before it moves like that. On whatever level you're dealing with it, whether you're dealing with economically, you got to be able to see, well, look, society is moving towards this technology. So let me get a degree or let me take a class or whatever so I can know what's going on with these computers because society is moving that way. You know what I'm saying? Or, right now, it might be a good time to go into the medical field. You know what I'm saying? Because, these are the things those are just examples.
Like, what do you? So they said Jay-Z and Nipsey Hussle are getting some type of credit for something in the Fred Hampton movie. I mean, they could have been some of the people that financed it. Because I was listening to a broadcast where they were saying that they was trying to make the movie for a lot of years. You know what I'm saying? They was trying to make the movie for a lot of years, and that was one of the problems, was the funding. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of my point, is that, after all the trials and tribulations, like I said, is it saying something more about our individual social equality, that, you know, if we, if we do all the research to find out, what was all the elements that brought this movie to us? Was it really that? Was it our social equality that we politic that hard? We put in enough work for that to be done? Is there, uh, a certain mindset that the mainstream is trying to give us? You know what I'm saying? Or is it just that, yo, listen, y'all are responding to this stuff. Like, y'all are responding to this. Y'all showing up at the box office or wherever you gotta pay. And so we making $1. We not, the long term, whatever may happen. If some of y'all end up having to get shot down the street out here protesting because y'all angry about this, so be it. Okay, VC Rum, you gotta compact your statement, sir. You got so many messages, I'm not sure what they mean. He said, I got to meet Junior back in '09. I wasn't up on the history of BP. Was that black people? I just said hello. Wish I knew what I knew now. Planet of the Apes. Yeah, you got to compact this down. The wordsmith said, even if the movie is just a cash grab, at least they are producing something besides another black gangster movie. Um, again, like I said, uh, this is just well, there's two things there. First of all, you know, um, that's just a part of the reality. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when you see these movies, like if we're gonna tell this story about um, the mass incarceration and what it's done, that's a part of that story. You know what I'm saying? The things that I don't like is not so much the things that the people do that might be wrong, but just the fact that it never comes to a solution type of standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never uh an example. Like right now, you got examples of different people who was locked up, and I don't know everything about him. I'm sure somebody would come and say, yo, he's a phony this way, he's a phony that way. But you got people like Pee Wee Kirkland, right? Who, yeah, he was a part of all that in the early '70s. But then since he came out, he used his popularity in the drug game, as well as his popularity from being a one of the pillars down there at the record.
you know what I'm saying, in terms of street ball fame, you know, and he runs basketball camps. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, when you see him around now, he's about doing things to uplift the community, you know, tell that part of the story too. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, now I would say we treading on extremely dangerous ground. West Coast wise. Ilvon, turn it down a little. What's VC Realm? VC Realm said they don't want the original man figuring it out. I mean, I think that's one of the uh that's one of the things is that they can put this stuff in the media, right? They can put it in a movie, right? But because we got caught up, right? Then we can't decipher any of these messages. Like on the one hand, like they can be confident enough, right? In how much religion that they put in us, right? That we can never figure out the reality part of it. See, like I said, things could be real. Some could be real. Like a car could be traveling right now, right? And somebody walking the street and they slam on the brakes. Now the reality is, you know, the car has good brakes. But if I'm religious, then I start talking about, oh, this is a miracle right here. The guardian angels was watching over me. But then how is it, you know, that this other lady over here that was walking with her carriage and they both got mowed down? You know what I'm saying? Or I was dealing with a situation. It wasn't really a situation. It was somebody invited me to it was like a discussion about um ending ending human trafficking in the Black community. And you know, me me having a Hotep channel, of course, they wanted to see what my input was. But as the discussion was going on, you know, inevitably, you know, it's a lot of women in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's one of the things they like, yo, we gotta, you know, make this, you know, we've gotta inform the whole community that this is a problem. So, you know, people could know that something actually has to be done about it. And so eventually this lady comes in, she's a preacher, right? And she's talking about how, you know, she's been through all this stuff. I presume she's talking about when she used to smoke crack. Uh, you know, because she was talking about she don't want to whatever, you know, that's my mind. But at any rate, she's talking about how the only reason that she's here today is because of how God blessed her. That it wasn't because of anything she did. It was all of these blessings from God. You know, and you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, so wait a minute. You know, what you talking about is how you got all these businesses and you make movies and all of this stuff. And God bless you to do all of that, right? But this same God cannot stop children from being molested inside the church building. See, there's something ridiculous about that. But how is God, this guy you talking about, he shows up at the Super Bowl, he shows up at boxing matches, you know, he talks to Hulk Hogan. But then where all the real pain and suffering is going on at, he just trickles in every blue moon, little miracle over there. So at the end of the day, you know, like I said, if the religion is in people, they never going to look at the reality of what really caused things to happen. Everything that happened, the rain, hail, snow, and the thunder above their heads, they're gonna be religious about it. Cause they don't know how to draw things up in the fine mix, man. So you could put things on TV because let's keep it 100. Even if you put something on TV about another group of people, see, when you really understand the science of mathematics, you can look at what they doing and say, wait a minute, man, let me apply some of that science that they dealing with. The same way you see the little kids, right? You know, when this is going back a little ways, but when you have Randy Moss, right? And Randy Moss go out there and catch the ball with one hand, what happened? After the game, if you look outside, there's little kids out there. And they throwing the ball, and everybody's trying to apply that. Everybody's trying to catch the ball with one hand now. When you look at the NBA, you see a whole bunch of dudes, right? And they applying moves and skills that they seen Kobe Bryant doing. So by the same token, you can look at other people and see how they came to prosper in North America and apply those rules. But if your mindset is such that you can't draw that up in the fine midst, then you still ain't never gonna figure it out. The law will manifest. The wordsmith said, I feel like a lot of cinema serves the purpose to smear the image of the original man. Nothing wrong with the gangster movies, but they should also have black doctors and scientists, et cetera, et cetera. You know, the reality though is looking at John Singleton's career. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, does anybody have the numbers on, how much more money did Boys in the Hood make than Rosewood? And don't get me wrong, I'm sure Rosewood had more issues, probably might not have been presented in as many movie theaters. You know what I'm saying? Like when a movie comes out, some movie is in every single movie theater in America, and some movies not so much. But you got to look at the way that we responding to things. Like at the end of the day, the color man can put whatever he want to put on the screen. If we respond to it, you understand what I mean? Like when they put the Cosby Show on, we responded to that. And so you see now they like, all right, well, if that's how to get money, this is how we gonna do it. So I'm not saying that these tactics is not being used, but what I'm saying is, uh, you know, we falling for the okie doke. Very Kusi. See, between the law will manifest in VC realm today. I'm trying to figure out. Samar said Hollywood is a problem. No cap, especially when it comes to originals. Look how many original male members went into showbiz manly and came out feminine. I can name a dozen of them. Vin Diesel, Eddie Murphy, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Will Smith. I mean, that's definitely uh uh that's definitely a that's definitely something that illustrates a bigger point in society. You know what I'm saying? That you know, a culture is developed around a certain set of necessities too. A certain set of necessities about how you survive. So Shaquem said Boys in the Hood generated 57.5 million. Now, how much did Rosewood generate? You know what I'm saying? What I was saying is that, the environment that you live in, like I said before, if you live on an island, you're more likely to be a fisherman. In the culture that you have, the time that you get up, the types of tools that you build, you know what I'm saying? The meals that you prepare, you know, the clothes that you wear, all of these things, the skills that you build up in life, all of these things is going to be greatly affected by the reality of your environment. You understand what I'm saying? So the reality of our environment is that it's survival is a little bit rough. And so those types of skills that you have to display, you know what I'm saying, in order to survive not just survive but thrive, is different in different environments. See, like I don't go to the movies all that much, but see now when you go to the movies, you see an enlightened guy. He's like the main character. He's enlightened. He's extremely concerned with feminist issues. You know what I'm saying? That's not like the kind of like back in the day, you had the westerns, with John Wayne, was king at the box office. You know, that was a different set of skills that they needed to survive in that environment of the Wild West. You know, without getting into the history of Black cowboys, I know about that. I'm just talking about the movie right now and the images that they portray to the people. And so that aspect of us, you know, needing a certain amount of strength in order to survive in our environments is not something that's useful to mainstream America. It's not useful to corporate America. So Samaj, you know, that's something that you know, we've seen that you know, you're gonna have to lose, you're gonna have to lose most aspects, right, of you, you know, being Black. You know what I'm saying? Is not the same. Uh, you know, in order for you to be accepted into that world, right? You got to accept the whiteness, right? But you got to understand it from a level of even European people had to do that. They had to lose their ethnicity. Where look, you can't be Italian and Hungarian and Irish. You got to be white. And being white means that you get rid of those values that you have based on, you know, who your people are and the way you grew up in that culture, and you embrace the values that we have. And so, of course, that creates a dilemma for the average original person, because part of those values is that, okay, you're a credit to your race, but the rest of them, we need you to help us keep them down. So Shaquem said 13 million. So it was 57.5 million that went to Boys in the Hood, right? And 13 million was produced by Rosewood. And so, see, that's what I'm saying. Even though how many people, you know, you get on, everybody's talking about Black Wall Street and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all these different places, but see, you didn't show up. And like I said, I know it wasn't just that issue, but you know, we got to stop being, you know, sensationalized ourselves. Where, you know, we got to see, and you know, don't get me wrong, I didn't see the movie, so it's a little bit unfair of me to pass judgment on it. But listen, is the fake Black Panther movie going to make more money than the real Black Panther movie? And like I said, I know you got issues, the pandemic, of course, not as much people going to the movies now as went there. But it's streaming. You know what I'm saying? People can stream it, people can see it however they gotta see it. But is the fake Black Panther movie gonna make more money than the real Black Panther movie? See, because you know what ends up happening with that too is, don't think about it just in the terms of Hollywood. Think about it in terms of original people who want to make movies, who can tell these stories, who, you know, they not caught up in the propaganda. They want to give you the real story. But now if they can make their movie and you would show up for them for $57 million, then we can start to make these movies. These movies can start to be seen, and it'll be based on our social equality. Like, like we say, you got God and the devil on the planet Earth. We get used to all the time talking about what the devil did. And a lot of times we're not speaking enough on what God did or did not do. But I'm just saying, if you look at John Singleton's career, you will see that, yeah, when he made the type of movie that, we'll hear some complaints about, oh, it's a gangster movie, oh, it's frivolous this way, it's frivolous that way. They showing black women like this, they showing black men like that. But we show up for those, and we don't show up to the Rosewoods. SW said, this is a significant part of social engineering evolution. They turn everything into a digital marketplace now. Indeed, with that. Be righteous caveman, brilliant elevation. Actually, I don't think brilliant elevation, I don't think we've been on. Have we been on since, I think last Tuesday was our last day. I'm not sure. Shaheed Davis. What is this? Right here, VC Rum said, just like Latin America too, the Afro-Latinos don't be with the Black American way of thinking or doing in regards to overcome the colored man. Same thing for Africans. I mean, what do you mean by that? Like some of these ideas, y'all gotta manifest the whole idea, man. Like, see, if you was Elijah Muhammad, I'll probably speak your language. I know what you mean. You said, what was the message in Too Fast, Too Furious? I didn't see any of those movies. So I really don't know what the message of that was. Shakim said, what upset me was how so many Black people, famous and non-famous, pushed for Black people everywhere to support Black Panther, but the same actor played Jackie Robinson in 42 and it didn't get pushed. I mean, that's an issue. I dealt with it to the degree where I had people get upset with me because I didn't, for me, I just didn't want to see it. Like, there's at least one brother that I never really, after that, me and him finally had a couple of conversations because I was like, yo, dude, I don't need, I don't need the cartoon version. I don't need the fake version of nothing. Like that whole thing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and at the end of the day, like, what did it do? Like, you know, you get a whole bunch of memes. We got a whole bunch of memes on what you call this thing? Uh Social media. We get 1,000 memes. But what did any of that really you know, what did any of that really amount to? Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Fast and Furious. So it's possible that it was a great message in it. You know, I didn't see it. You know, see, for me, it's the opposite. I mean, don't get me wrong. I saw Boys in the Hood and all of that, but I'm saying, you know, for me, I'm gonna make it a point to see Rosewood. You know, Fast and Furious. I didn't really. What'd you say, VC Rome? What else I said on job sites and neighborhoods? You're thinking too fast for me today, VC Rome. I can't follow. You thinking too fast for me. I can't keep up. You said job sites and neighborhoods. Fly Phrase said I like 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. It was way better than Black Panther. Shakim said none of these companies making these movies are giving back to our communities, and very few of the actors, actresses are either. You know, that's a great point. You know, is that, you know, even when you deal with a lot of these people, um, you know, these I mean, yeah, it's an individual story of Fred Hampton and, you know, him uh, you know, him giving his life for what he believed in and all of that, you know. But at the same time, there's also the greater picture that you know, these movies is about the pain of whole communities. You know what I'm saying? You know, these movies, uh, you know, especially like let's say in particular with this movie, you know what I'm saying? You know, who's to say, you know, and I keep, like I said, I can't say one way or the other what it would have been. All we know is what it is. But have Fred Hampton been more successful in what his overtakers was, right? If he had been more successful in his endeavors, right, would we still be dealing with these same situations where, you know, in a weekend you got 40 or 50 people getting shot in Chicago? You understand what I'm saying? And so uh I do think that's a thing, you know, where yeah, I understand this is capitalism, you can't count nobody's money, but I'm saying at the same time, we need to look at that too. Like I said, in terms of our social equality, we gotta look at what we supporting, you know. Uh, you know, are we supporting something where they're gonna say, look, well, after we make this movie, we're going to start this program in Chicago, to where, little kids can get jobs or whatever it might be. We give them some particular type of training, that will help them get out of the situations that they're in, at least let them see that there is, a way out of here besides the casket. That's a part of, those are demands that have to be made. Yeah, they film the movies in Atlanta and Chicago. Well, from what I understand, they didn't have very, very, very many scenes of Chicago in the Fred Hampton movie. Like in the discussion that I was hearing, a lot of brothers not, a couple of brothers were saying that it wasn't really a lot of Chicago in that movie. You know what I mean? But filming it in Atlanta and Chicago is still something where, like you filming it in Atlanta and Chicago, but still, who is that money going to? Like that's at the end of the day where, we get caught up. And see, that's what I was telling y'all about being very specific about what you're saying. Because see, they can say, yeah, well, we filmed this in Atlanta, but then everybody you filmed it with, none of them was the brothers. None of them was the sisters. You didn't really create no opportunities that's going to change those situations. They could say, yeah, we put this much money in this community, yeah, but you put it in there, you put it in there in a way where it's only going to be beneficial to people that's gentrifying in right now at a cost that, original people can't really afford to partake. Whether it's because they need more money to partake in it, whether it's because they don't have the type of knowledge that you need in order to take advantage of those things. Whether it's the time, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. That we see in people, and look, it's in all different ways. You know what I'm saying? Like you got somebody to come out and they rapping and they screaming out the name of this city and the name of that projects and this hood over here and that street over there. But you don't never really go over there and do nothing that's beneficial for the people. See, at that point, you become the 10%. Like that's all fine and good. You know what I'm saying? You illustrated that point. You know what I'm saying? Or you I wouldn't say illustrated, but you made knowledge born on who Fred Hampton was and what he was about. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, we got a lot of knowledge now. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to all the brothers. We was talking about Black History Month earlier, Carter G. Woodson to Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Thanks to those brothers, man, we got a lot of knowledge now. But how much of it we putting into the stage of wisdom? See that that is a factor in what happens. And this is one of the things that I was saying, that when you go back to the early 90s, right? And you go back to before those riots in LA, right? And after the riots, see, when you give a certain class of people a certain amount of money, then they interests separate. Meaning, this is an example of what I'm saying. See, when you're dealing with the civil rights movement in the 1960s, one of the reasons why you have the kind of block, the political block, I'm saying, of Black people fighting for everything is because everybody's in the same situation. Like if you Black and you got a couple of dollars, only thing that's going to do is you're going to live on the better side of the Black community. You know what I'm saying? Like if the poor brothers live in the South Side, maybe you live in the East Side. But you still in the same city, you still got to deal with all the same issues. But see, now once there's integration and you can afford to go move off to the suburb and live with the colored people, now your interests change. Now you know the plight of those people, they got to think about, they didn't go to college like me. But yeah, see, they partaking in this aspect and that aspect of the way how they culture is. See, sometimes you can't, this is when we talk about a lot of the negative aspects of our culture, right? Right? Of the way we live, that's often used, right, by the colored man to justify the negativity that he's doing. You see what I mean? So if we point to police brutality, then you point to rap music. Well, look at the stuff they do in rap music. That's why they have that mentality and they don't cooperate with the police. And that's why they get shot. Yeah, I understand that it can be used in that way, but that don't mean that there's no aspects or elements of truth to it. That there's things in our culture, right, amongst our social equality, right? Like I said in the title, social equality is how you relate to the people that's around you in any given cipher. So certain things about the way we relate to ourselves, and it's always been that way. See, because the social equality was limited, right, in many different places where, when you want to get into the indigenous people or whatever, however you call it, the Aboriginal people of whatever place, right? Because there was limited social equality between those people, they was able to be infiltrated and conquered. Because there was separation, because these people over there didn't like those people over there, for whatever the reason may be, right? It's different reasons at different times. And so when you see Judas in the Black Messiah, there's been a Judas for every Black Messiah. In every single movement where, brothers try to, put something into activation for freedom, justice, and equality, right? For original people, there was a Judas. There was somebody who came and told. Shakim said, many of us already know these stories and they repeat these stories and still make money off of us. If they brought roots back, that might wake up some of the young. I agree with that. I still, the one element that I would add on is that the illusion, right, of the illusion, I guess what they call the illusion of inclusion, the illusion of how good of a space, how good of a spot different people have within white supremacy is still a little bit of a barrier. Meaning that as long as some people feel like, I'm in a good enough spot where there's no need to make waves. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we make a little ripples. You know what I'm saying? We make a little, but we don't really want no tidal wave to come through here and affect that much change. You see? Because now that might affect that might affect the little space that I've carved out for myself within white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And so for a lot of people, until they really, you know, that's a little bit of what happened to W.E.B. Du Bois. And that's my dude. I like W.B. Du Bois, but that's one of the things, I don't believe in holy people and nothing like that, just like I like him. There's things that he could have did wrong. And that was one thing, he dealt with elitism, within the original people and the talented 10th and all of these things. But see, when he hit rock bottom, and he realized that, the only real people that's looking out for you is all those non-elite people, that, in your original plan, they was kind of secondary. The first thing was to save this talented 10th, and then maybe the talented 10th would save the rest. But then when you needed saving, you seen that those talented 10th, they didn't come to your aid like that. So I think that's going to have to happen where, people going to have to actually experience the hard time, the hunger, the nakedness out of doors. At this point in time right now, they all setting up home. Fly Phrase said, did anybody see that they made a TV show about the Denzel movie, The Equalizer, and they casted Queen Latifah to play the main role of The Equalizer? I mean, no, I didn't particularly see it. Latifah's she's in that realm where, she's become, she's been invited into their social equality. I'm not going to say that she has a seat at the table, but she has been invited into their social equality. My Illuminati came in. SW said, I'm writing character development for a script now that can make a movie just off the little outline. So this is, you checking out a program? I think I heard of this program. The law will manifest. Say, can your social equality reform the devil? I mean, I think this is a good question, but I don't know what you mean. If you mean what I think you mean, or I would say, it depends on what your social equality is. Like, what do you mean? Like, if you give the devil what he wants, is that going to reform him? You mean equality in that, or you mean if you have somebody, right? Because the devil is any man which is made weak and wicked. If you have somebody who's only been exposed to telling lies and stealing and trying to master other people, and then you bring them into a society where everybody is righteous, yeah, that can that can reform the devil. And y'all are some side rally now. So Samar said they brought roots back in other slavery movies to my own knowledge for the purpose of tainting the newborn children's minds. What do you mean by that? Tainting their minds, how so? What's this you say right here, be righteous? If you say $27.40 a day for 365 days, you will have $10,000 at the end of the year. Hmm. Natural Jewel came in. Samar said, we will never forget our own history, and we are capable of teaching ourselves. We don't need the devil to remind us of those scars. They do it to keep that strife between original and devil strife fresh and malicious. Um, I'm just of the opposite mindset that you know, I think we need to I think we need to focus on that as a little more of our motivation than on the Black Panther movie. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, the American government, they never let people forget about tyranny and what tyranny is and taxation without representation. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they never let people forget about communism and socialism and Hitler, et cetera, because these things, they're motivating factors. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas, Black people get motivated by, Wakanda. And to me, I just don't know if that works as well. Like just the current, I don't know if it's just the training, the programming of Western society. But kind of when you look at the Bible, you know what I'm saying? And you see how, things was kind of mundane until people had the knowledge of good and evil. Like when you wash away the fact that, we all, that's a part of our shared history, right? Is the trials and tribulations that we went through in order to get to here. And, everybody just starts the clock from, 1985 or whenever you get the new Black middle class. And don't get me wrong, I do agree with you in terms of separation in any form, whether it's between Black people and white people, whether it's between Black people and Black people, whether it's between men and women, whether it's between young and old. Separation is separation. But kind of in the same way that, I don't think that you should tear down all these monuments, because then what becomes of that history? Like there's another item that was in the news about a white woman who lost her post in one of the committees, on some of the committees in Congress, because of her views. Like she had some racist views, or whatever the case may have been, and it was saying that the article was saying that in reality, she's just the latest of a long line of colored women who, no, they didn't just sit in the background. They was the ones who, introduced the whole, how would you say, the ideas behind a lot of legislation, right? That was, had a negative impact on Black people. But because this history is often swept under the rug, right? To me, like it's kind of like, look, if your history, if the colored woman's history of perpetuating white supremacy was known, right, then we wouldn't be so quick to accept them as members of minority that need to be protected from white supremacy. See, even going back to what somebody was saying about the feminization of men, is because people ain't looking at the parts that the colored woman played in the establishment and perpetuation of white supremacy. And so now it can be painted as a patriarchal thing instead of it being a white supremacy thing. You understand what I mean? And so, the patriarchy is the main thing that's behind white supremacy, and not the social equality that y'all have amongst each other as the white family. Oh man, smell good. That's a whole other story. That's the anti-baduism channel over there. Okay, so y'all going way off into the movies now where I don't. Y'all going all the way into the movies now where I don't really. Shamar said, I'm mainly speaking on the brutality, displaying the whippings, the hangings, how they raped our sisters, and then putting it on TV, showing it to a whole new generation who will never. I mean, I mean, this is what I'm saying, right? And just look what I'm saying for a group of people they fairly unified. They got problems with each other. They have wars, killed, but listen, when it comes down to certain things, they able to come together, right? Uh, you never hear the Christians saying that when they depict Jesus. Like when they depict Jesus getting hurt in all kinds of ways, right? The Christians eat that up. Like, yeah, this is the pain we just see. This is why we gotta be the way we are. See, when you take away those images and you take away that history, right? Then when you see people out there rebelling in the street, it seems like they doing that for no reason. See, notice that's what they do when they dealing with another country, right? And they trying to cause the people in that country to rebel against the leaders. That's what they start showing you. Look at all this brutal stuff that this guy, look at the brutal stuff that this government has done to this people. And so if we don't have those images, right, how do we allow him to portray himself now? Like if we take all that away, right? then what are we gonna tell the young in terms of, all right, well, look, this is the situation right here that we got to deal with. On some level in their minds, they gotta be thinking, yeah, well, why are we gonna do that? If they thinking that, nah, it's always been like this, Eminem, uh, Kanye, we've always been, yeah, it's always been like this. No, it hasn't always been like this. I can't understand what people are saying about the psychological impacts that these, different things could have, you know what I'm saying? The different messages, psychologically, what kind of impact is it having? Listen, smell good. We gonna get we're gonna deal with that topic on Wednesday. We could get into that that's a whole other topic. It's definitely a hot topic right now in general. But we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that for Wednesday. Shamar said, I never seen that brutality, but I recall seeing Roots back in the juvenile center. And for no reason, we just jumped up and beat two white kids up on the strength of our emotions. And it's a lot of others, original stars, react the same way. It's just how we are. Without proper teaching, we will continue to react to life off of emotions. Now, uh, see, I wouldn't really say that happened for no reason, though. It happened for the reason that you know, y'all saw what was the source of a lot of trials and tribulations that y'all going through, people in y'all family, whatever that y'all seeing going through trials and tribulations. And, you know, these individuals is there and they clearly, they got some connection with with the people that perpetrated this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, um, we got the 10th degree in the 1 in 10 that tells us, that taking a devil head, that's not to be taken literally as it says in the degree there. What you say here, Josephus Grant? Um, and there is a difference in how you deal with things, right? Individually, right? And collectively. You understand what I'm saying? You know, uh, so as individuals, right? Those two kids that you seen at the juvenile center, they probably, if they in the juvenile center with y'all, they probably going through the same, or similar trials and tribulations that you going through in America in terms of if you look at their families or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You probably going to see a lot of the same problems. Now, what those problems is based on is different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, over time, different things have impact on different things, but at the root of our problem, right, is that we was brought here to be slaves. We was brought here to have the wealth and the life and the pursuit of happiness extracted out of us so that others could have. So, that's a reality. You know what I'm saying? You know, but on a collective level, right, of how we bring about a change in that situation, right? Beating up those two dudes in the juvenile center is not going to bring none of that about. Like those two dudes got beat up, and the next day it was still white supremacy. They're still brothers, you know, going through all the things they was going on. So just that right there alone tells you that, yeah, it's different things where we have to deal with the training. But see, it's also a certain something where, you know, as you can see, like you said, like, okay, that brings out a whole bunch of suppressed emotions. All right, we got to be able to deal with those emotions, man. Like that's just a part of a therapeutic thing that we got to be able to do, right? Is deal with that. And then be able to focus that energy. Because remember, man, everything is going to be a learning experience if you choose it to be that, whether it came out bad or good. And so, whatever is the inferiority complexes, whatever is the internal anger, the hatred, or whatever, at some point, that's got to be confronted. Like, you're not going to continue to sweep that under the rug, you know what I'm saying? And then, some way, the situation is going to improve and these feelings is going to go away. Somebody good said my old dad was one to say slave movies made him mad. I mean, this is what I'm saying. To me, people act like this is not a normal response. Like this is, some things, we've been programmed with this idea that everybody gotta be normal by, speaking in this type of tone. Like, nah, there's some shit that's supposed to piss you off. See, it's when you allow these emotions to control you. But remember, emotions is there in order to motivate you to do certain things. Like love is an emotion that motivates you to do certain things for the people that you have this emotion about, for the things that you have this emotion about, for the situations that you have this emotion about. But it's just a matter of how these things can be transformed. Because see, your love can be transformed into frustration. See, if ain't no understanding coming from you going through hell for something that you love, right? Then what's going to happen? You're going to end up getting frustrated. And then for some people who can't handle that frustration, you end up destroying the thing you love. And you love this woman, but she's not responding to you the way you want to respond, the way you want her to respond. So now you're beating her up. So by the same token, what I'm saying is that anger has to be transformed right, into motivational energy, right, to say, all right, look, these are the things that need to be done in order so that this don't happen again. Melissa Davis said, why, with all that we know about everything, we are humble as a people. When I saw Roots, I hated white folks, Martin King, Malcolm, Panthers, etc. I mean, what is it about us? Are we scared of the man? Um, yeah, that's a part of it. You know, is that leads to a certain amount of frustration, um, and the inability to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you know, you in a situation where, you know, it could be anything, but you know, if you know that you prepared to do something about it, you got the power to bring about a change in that thing, that you're not gonna be as frustrated. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to you know, a situation where you feel powerless. You know, and you just hit on something else right there too. You know what I'm saying? Is in, you know, in terms of relation, where I was saying, like, you know, what is it about the social equality now that they put in certain things on TV, you know, putting certain movies out, you know, writing certain articles, you know, you know, enough Black people keep demonstrating that kind of mentality where you know, and it's it's kind of it's encouraged in us. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that right now, if if you talk about uh pulling the troops out of the Middle East, right? They're gonna say, nah, well, what about 9/11 though? Yeah, now you had that terrorist. Nah, what about 9/11? But then if you notice, anything that happens to original people, right? The first thing they start talking about is how you see these people, you know, they're so forgiving, you know, like the dude who the Dylan Roof cat, that he went in the church down there in South Carolina and shot up all those people. And then you have people at the arraignment and he didn't even get into jail yet. And you have people saying, yo, you know, I forgive you, you know, and there's a conflict there. You know, I'm saying within the mentality of any person, where, you know, on the one hand, you know, you trying to forgive somebody for, first of all, things that are ongoing. And see, that's another whole part of the issue, is that, you know, you could tell somebody to get over something, but generally speaking, when you tell somebody to get over something, it's already happened. Like, it's already a done deal. So these is not just things, you know, these are not just things that you know, we looking at that happened hundreds of years ago or 50 years ago. these are things that we still see being manifested. These are things that we still see, you know, even the dude who was running for Michigan, who's running for governor in Michigan, who said he wants to cancel uh, Black History Month. We see that, you know, aggressive moves is still being made towards us and our history and our culture and our existence right now. The only difference between what you're saying when you see it in those movies is the level of covertness. Meaning that right now we could come up with a list of things that they say, right, to replace Black people. I'm talking about in the terms of them saying something like if they're gonna get up there and make a political speech and say, yo, we're gonna do this to Black people. See, 100 years ago, they could just say that. Yeah, we're gonna have to hold these niggers back. What's going on with those niggers? Yeah, those niggers are out of line. See, now they will come in, they're not gonna say, those niggers out of line, man. We need to put those niggers in their place. See, now they'll come in and say something like, we need to restore order in some underprivileged communities. You see how that works? That you still dealing with this same situation. Meaning when you see those statistics and they tell you that the net worth of Black people in America is zero or whatever the number is, right? Contrast with whatever that number was in 1860. But it's just that in 1860, the way we're going to ensure that's the case, right, is going to be different now. See, we're not going to say Black men. We're not going to say, these Black men are running through the countryside raping white women. They're going to say, we have a spike in crime that are coming from young thugs. And see, like I said, in that dog whistle language, so anytime they say, look, we're going to be tough on crime, see, in their mind, that translates to we're going to put those niggers in their place. In the dog whistle language. But I'm saying that, look, slavery is a whole thing. Like I'm saying that, look, this is like, for instance, back in the days, right? They used to have something called the winter blues. And even scientifically, it had an explanation that people were spending more time in the house. You're not being as active. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting a lot of sunlight. For all these different reasons, people used to be, a little bit depressed. Not, but I'm saying now, if you go in, and like, see, like right now, I'm saying this time of year, somebody might go in, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit down. You just got the winter blues, man. When the springtime comes, you start getting back out there. But see, now, because you're supposed to be normalized, mentally and emotionally to whatever is the standard of the mental health community, right? Now that you're supposed to be normalized according to that, we gotta give you these pills. Yeah, you suffering depression, we gotta give you these pills. The reality is, if you was a part of a group of people, like, look, I've been there before. When you a part of a group of people, right? that you know that y'all did something to this other group of people over here, right? And then one day you find yourself in an atmosphere where there's a whole bunch of those people, right? But you're not with all your people that, you know, the tables have turned. And you know that these people over here have a good reason to want to retaliate on you because of your association with this other group of people. So how do you convince that group of people that they feeling is irrational? I mean, these things exist. That's a part of reality to, you know, for me, that I just think that, you know, look, you know, if we lose that aspect, that, you know, and I think that's some of what's happened is that, you know, we so separated right now from, you know, we so separated from the trials and tribulations that some people had to go through in front of sacrifices that some people had to make, that, you know, you could go out there and commit some clown behavior and not see how significant it is to damaging you, right? Because, you know, you don't realize what people had to go through in order to make that degree of progress. You know, you lose focus on what the fight was about. You know, at least, you know, well, I could ask y'all, you know, and I guess you could ask anybody in existence, you know, like right now, you know, you know, how many people do you think was involved with abolition, right? That in their mind, a couple minutes, really.
You know what I'm trying?
Nah, I ain't gotta get on the train today. Yeah, definitely. Peace.
Peace.
You know, today it almost seems like, you know, civil rights is about how many people is bothering. Yeah, what's your name, man? Come, Malachi. Malachi. Yeah, yeah.
He says I want you to know his family for cold and so you know, you be getting nervous at night, you got enemies. He start bugging out, dog. He said, yo, I got enemies. I know this like when I come in and shit, like I'm not gonna go get stepped. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know, you gonna come on that time. Keep on, don't dread. He used to work with Law and Justice. I think he used to do some type of music, and he do karate.
Not talking about, oh, foundation? All right, yeah.
Maybe
All right. Yeah, that was pardon that a little interruption. All right, no doubt. But you know, I mean that's what? Nah. Yeah, I got everything. But I mean, those to me is you know, I don't know if you can let those facts go, like if you can let that aspect of the history, you know, can you let that go, right? And still still understand what the fight is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we fighting? Why are we out in the street? You see what I mean? Like, if you don't tie all of this history in and all of these things, then you fall into an argument that you hear used a lot, right? About the isolated incidents. You know what I'm saying? Where, George Floyd, this is an isolated incident. You know what I'm saying? These are isolated. Yeah, but how many isolated incidents does it take to form a pattern? You see what I'm saying? Especially when we can show that this pattern has been established since day one. This is not something that started happening 100 years in, or 200 years in, or 300 years in. No, this is stuff that's been happening from the very beginning. And we have had some times where it was more escalated than other times. But this is the actual history. This is the actual science, of don't be fooled into thinking that those times can't come back. Like I'm saying, for some of the people, I'm not saying that it was everybody who didn't see it, but I'm quite sure that for some of the people that was there when Reconstruction was over, I'm talking about when the Klan and all these other militia groups start coming in and terrorizing the original people again, you know, listen, this is the reality. Like, yeah, it's a little kumbaya moment here and a kumbaya moment there. But at the end of the day, this is the reality. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that we've seen over the last couple of years is that the same mentality that was the fuel for all those terrorist acts, that same mentality was existing right beneath the surface. Like, we looking at the mainstream media and all that, that's on the surface. That's what the people say in public. These are the speeches that they give. You see, as soon as, that little surface that crumbled, now we seeing all the mentalities come back out. To me, that's something that needs to be understood, that, look, a lot of this stuff that's said for public relations, a lot of this stuff that's said, in the media or whatever, that's not necessarily how the people feel. That's not necessarily what's motivating the people. And it's not necessarily what's going to happen when, the situation, the situation becomes a little more urgent as far as survival. Josephus Grant said, we're supposed to want to fight. Change happens when there's violence or some type of uproar, according to history. Divine Truth said, we are told to forget about what happened to original people during slavery based on the time and how long ago it happened. But there has never been a time when there hasn't been a form of brutality towards the original man, woman, and child. See, another, to me, because I hear people say this, I've been in these type of conversations where they'll say something like that. Well, you need to forget about slavery because no person alive today was a slave. You know what I tell them? No person alive today fought in the Revolutionary War. But that don't stop you from talking about the Bill of Rights. That don't stop you from talking about the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, George Washington, and all the rest of what happened. That don't stop you from being on the land that they fought for. So don't tell me that something happened, you know, like I said, in terms of me, up until the present moment, but we can't talk about that. But you can tell me about something that happened 250 years ago. Like, see, now it's all about our forefathers and the things that they did and established so that we could be here. But we talking about slavery, no, we supposed to forget about that? You know how many things people enjoy right now? Look, no person alive today was there when they invented the wheel. But I don't see you giving back your car, saying, yo, you know what? I can't partake in this. So like I said, these are things that's used, right, when we haven't come to grips, right, with the history and what we went through and, come to an understanding about it in a way to be able to articulate it, right, so that we can express what our grievances is, what our demands is, and why we have those demands. If everything is just, okay, sweep that under the rug, and then, okay, but we want our reparations. All right, well, what you want the reparations for? Like, I'm just saying, on the same way we saying that Hollywood puts certain images out there, this is what I'm telling you, that's what they do. They see when they wanted to get Saddam Hussein, they went all the way back to the 70s. Yeah, look at all the stuff he did. Yeah, this other stuff some of that stuff happened in the 70s and 80s. See, this is why when they had what was it, the 1619 project, right? Where they portrayed slavery in American history a certain way, where it vilified certain people, then they came out with the Lincoln Project. Like, no, we have to elevate these people back to their heroic status. Because if the idea exists out there that these are the type of people they are, now they worthy of some type of, retribution there. Right. Atif said, you got to take those feelings and say, yeah, this is the reason why we're not going to buy Nikes. This is the reason we're going to take our current and build it together. Reasons to make you strong. Yeah, to me, that's the main thing. You know what I'm saying? Is being able to come to grips with it, but uh, not manifesting it as if, you know, somehow that's gonna change the history, change how we feel about the history, see the history, whatever the case may be. Nah, I'm not of the mind that that's a good idea. Allah will manifest it. Check out the movie American Skin. I heard of this movie, but I haven't. What's that one about? Simon said, if those who choose to teach a younger God or queen about slavery or any other unjust act against our culture or let them read or view on TV, be there to righteously build them. Indeed, indeed. You know what I'm saying? You're right about that. Is that whatever knowledge they get, you know what I'm saying? And that goes into what I was saying too about social equality and how we have to establish the social equality and, at least for ourselves, because we was talking about how certain characters, I don't know if you was here in the beginning, we was talking about how certain people, you're more likely to hear about them, right? Like you're more likely to hear about Jackie Robinson, right? Who was a conformist. He accomplished what he accomplished by conforming to what the mainstream society wanted and who the mainstream society wanted him to be, as opposed to Fred Hampton. So you got people who, they deal with this type of history, but they still didn't know the details of what happened with the Fred Hampton situation. The way that, so much, about certain images, like even with Martin Luther King and the way they emphasize certain parts of his life and de-emphasize other parts, so don't even let you know about those other parts. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, uh, all of those different things, like you said, they're going to motivate people, but directing that motivation. See, that's when you knowledge and power. See, it's energy all around us, but it's not directed in a particular way to do a particular thing. You understand what I'm saying? You know, uh, if like I said the other day, if you plug your TV into a nuclear power plant, they don't got that's not what that power is for. It's not directed in that particular way. So it's the same thing with uh, you know, any form of energy, that people have, that people feel. You still got to be able to direct that in the proper way in order for it to be effective. So you're right about that, but that's what I was saying is that, you know, we can't just put the story there. We gotta also, we gotta complete these histories. That all of our history is not since the civil rights movement to now. All of our history is not Jim Crow. All of our history is not slavery. All of that together. And so the problems and the solutions, that different brothers have implemented over the time, and how much progress was made with this implementation over here, and how we can look at how they implemented things over there, and we can look at how they implemented things over there, and we can take the best part and apply that right here. You know, that is an issue. You know what I'm saying? If we just leave it like, when the movie's over, okay, the end. But at the same time, we also got to realize that, this story is still being written. It's being told in the middle of being written. See, like if you just tell the story, if they decide, okay, we're going to stop the clock in 1965, you know, so, it's just been Civil Rights Act. It's just been the Voting Rights Act. et cetera, et cetera, yeah, everything looks rosy. But whatever's the outcome of that, the rest of the story was yet to be told. So now you come in with the wars, right? With the wars, war on poverty, war on drugs. And so we see that, poverty and drugs was never really the targets of the war on poverty or the war on drugs. The targets was really the poor people and the people that was taking the drugs. So it's the same thing right now. Is that, yeah, that's the history, you know what I'm saying? But the history is not, it hasn't been, it hasn't, this book is still being written. And how it ends, we the authors of that. Rome Fetty. Yeah, I started seeing that. That's a whole other. Shamar said, don't just let them watch material like this on their own and deal with it however they feel. That's like leaving a gun just about in the house around your kids. The child is going to be affected, but the sin is on you. Indeed, like I said, that's definitely what we got to do is look at these stories in their entirety. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and don't detach parts of the story. Like, I'll give you a good example. When I first heard of Nat Turner, right? Uh, I thought he was crazy. Not not well. The reason they said that he saw like an eclipse in the sky or something, and that's what made him go out and do the things that he did in his rebellion. See, but you didn't tell me about the condition of the people and how he saw the condition of the people, and that he felt that, now I need to do something about this because y'all have, y'all have co-opted me into what y'all doing to these people through giving me this role as a preacher. We just, we got to tell the entire story all the way up to now. See, the same way they won't allow you. Like if you say, yo, man, y'all brought us over here as slaves, they're gonna say, no, no, but we freed you. They're gonna tell you that no, you got to put it all in the context. Well, it was slavery all over. Slavery was regular then. They're gonna tell you that no, you can't just take that snapshot and make it the whole of history, because then you're not gonna have an understanding. So you're right about all these things. You know what I'm saying? You know, we gotta stop allowing these things to kind of be, we making them, we are creating an atmosphere as if we think that these things is you know, we just, we kind of just wait for the colored man to tell us these stories the right way. instead of telling our own story. Like it's just going to be like you hear stories of Genghis Khan being a great warrior. You know what I'm saying? The Mongol horde being great fighters, but you don't hear no European stories where Genghis Khan is a hero. That's just not how it works. Like it's some things you might think, well, yeah, the righteous thing to do would be if the colored people just took, yeah, but that's not the way it works. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? And some of this idealism, comes from this religiosity that we've been manipulated into believing. What's this you say right here? Did we hear about the black lady who was pregnant and got lynched by a couple in South Carolina? No, I don't think I heard about that. It happened yesterday. No, I didn't hear about that. King Me. Right. I like this point right here that King Me made, because he does not want us to know how filthy he is and all his affairs. You know, uh, uh, that's what I'm saying about the knowledge of the things that occurred. You know what I'm saying? You know, is like the is and this is a side issue, but if you study the history of Ireland, right? There's a part of Ireland that's not a part of the United Kingdom. Like they don't have the same relationship with England, and it's based upon things that happened hundreds of years ago. Where was a dude named Cromwell that they sent him from Europe. I mean, they sent him from England to go conquer Ireland, and he instituted some some severe some severe conditions over there. That even led up even to one of the reasons why you had so many Irish immigrants coming to America and all over the rest of the world was because of the conditions that the dude Cromwell set in motion. And so you always had certain people in Ireland that was rebelling against the British Empire. And so right now, I'm pretty sure it's Northern Ireland, they got their own situation, their own nation. And it's based upon the fact that they never forgot what happened. Whether it was hundreds of years ago or not, we not letting that slide. Like right now, there's relationships. I'm talking about political relationships all over the world that's based upon things that happen. You know, the way that Europe relates to the Middle East is still impacted by the relations they had during the Ottoman Empire. It's I mean, it's difficult, to look at any aspect of history, whether it's good or bad. The same way we hear about certain aspects of history and we feel proud or we feel happy because they was good aspects, when they, well, yeah, black people established this, black people established that, we feel the pride, we feel the happiness. Other things exist that, yeah, we're gonna feel the pain, we're gonna feel the anger. You know what I'm saying? But the emotions, the equality in your emotion is not necessarily going to get you nowhere. It's how you direct that. Don Bishop. Calm as Romley. Was this you said right here? Smell Goods, 1991 slave mini film. It was very crucial to how I saw things at that time. I think I missed that one. 1991. VC Realm says, speaking of our own story, have you seen the movies original people was making circa early 1900s to 1930s? The posters, if not the footage. I mean, I've heard of them. I've never seen one. While we had Negro sports leagues at the same time in businesses. Yeah. You know, you know, that ends up being the problem, is that, when we ignore the history or when we don't pay attention to some of the history, a lot of this other things like that never get known either. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, if you tell that story of those movies that was being made, right, then at some point you got to tell the story of why those movies stopped being made. And, you know, for those of us who, when we look at it, if we got love for ourselves, love for our people, then yeah, we're gonna be upset. But that's simply the story. Like that's what's happened. You know, like if you tell another story, then it's necessarily gonna be a fictional story. Like Wakanda is a fictional story. Right now, if you tell a story where everything has come out hunky dory and everybody enjoys the same social equality in the wilderness of North America, this is not going to be a real story. Josephus Grant said they will never admit to the truth. If they admit the truth, they know it would give the HLE black people wealth and too much power. Um, oh, the cups. Yeah, man, right now,
delivery is all chopped up, God. I think it's these holidays and then the snow and all of that. So yeah, I don't know why they chopped up the orders, but yeah, that's good. Your joint went out. Um, but Josephus, at this point, I don't think it's a matter. The truth is out, but it's just a matter of somebody said true self said control misunderstanding. You see, that's another thing that you could do. You understand what I'm saying? Like if if you have, I've never been in the cockpit, but I'm saying in any given situation, right? If you not in a if something bad is getting ready to happen, right? You in the airplane and the plane is going down. You can't stop the plane from going down, but you can try to control the crash, right? So that less damage occurs, you probably could survive. If you in a car, and the brakes go out, all right, you're going to crash. But see, you could try to sideswipe some stuff and slow down so that you don't hit the wall at 80 miles an hour. And so right now, I don't think it's a matter of the truth coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, I was hearing some people and they were saying it like it was a positive thing. That's why you gotta be aware about those statistics. And they were saying that statistics show that 70% of the people that was out during the George Floyd protest was white people. So okay, on the one hand, that can mean that okay, you're seeing some unity amongst the seeds. But see, what you also seeing is the movement being controlled. Whether it's being controlled from the top by people sending people to infiltrate it, or rather it's just being controlled by individuals who's coming to siphon off some of the attention for their own movement. So right now I think that's the situation where it's not that the truth is not known. Like all these different things, uh, all these different things, uh, from the transatlantic slave trade to the condition that we was in before the transatlantic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, look, we wasn't the peasants of Europe. We wasn't the tired, hungry, huddled masses. You understand what I'm saying? To all of the people who fought, all of the people who, put their minds together, put their money together, did whatever building they had to do in order to improve our situation. Um, that's all known now. What we experiencing now is just, okay, now you're directing the interpretation of these people. You know what I mean? The interpretation of what Martin Luther King said and what Martin Luther King meant and what Martin Luther King was about. But in terms of his history, everybody know what the history is. They got, that's just the stage that we in right now, where it's showing you how necessary wisdom is, man. No matter how much knowledge you got, how necessary, the wisdom is, and manifesting the wisdom in, you know, uh, complete in mathematics.
That's another thing that happens is, because we study the situation and we know about the situation and we can articulate the problems of the situation, right? We start mistaking that for having devised a solution. We know the truth, but do we understand the truth? Do we actually have the strength and the freedom to live out the truth? $704 Joe from the Sudan. All right. The Sudan, that's Dallas, right? So yeah, I'm gonna drop this link in here real quick. Guy said he wants to come in. I'm gonna drop the link. For anybody that wants to come in real quick. Other than that, we're gonna start winding this one down. Hopefully everybody that came in did the each one teach one, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Share this out on your other pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or your groups, etc., etc. You got any last questions before we wind this down? All right. So if everybody's good, like I said, just make sure you did the each one teach one, hit the like button, you know, comment down below when the video is over. Share this on your other pages, and we'll be back in effect tomorrow. Oh, hold on. Be righteous, just enter. What is
So VC Realm said, why did the other parties fall? What other parties? Oh, you talking about the other people in specific that was in the movie? Because I'm not familiar with the Crowns or the Patriots. Like who were they? Like was that their name, or was that a group that we all know but by other names?
Peace to the God, peace.
Peace, what's the deal?
Science almighty.
Ain't nothing, man.
I ain't building though, man. You keep hearing that father civilization, man. As long as we know the 10%, we know we ain't gonna be the 10%.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, in VC realm, in terms of why a lot of the it was an entire program. You know what I'm saying? COINTELPRO, the program that you seen operating, they let us know about a lot of the more famous people. You understand what I'm saying? But there was a lot of groups, a lot of people who their story didn't make the news. You know what I'm saying? Just like right now, amongst the Panthers, you know what I'm saying, we know about certain names, you know what I mean, of certain particular people, for whatever reason, most of the time it's because of how dangerous they was viewed by the mainstream. So their stories is out there, or maybe they became members of the media or whatever the case may be. What is this we got here? The word, this is
Peace, God.
We got Don Bishop came in,
Peace.
but you got VC Realm was talking about the different groups that was around at that time. A lot of times we hear about the bigger groups, you know what I'm saying, or the more, the people who was a little bit more out there in the media. So for instance, like even in the 60s, you don't hear about names like Medgar Evers as much.
Well, say that.
You know what I'm saying? But the same things that you seen happen to everybody else, the infiltration, the the drugs, you know what I'm saying? The amount of temptations that you seeing out there, and a lot of things that we talking about, like when we talk about the destruction of the Black family, right? Those are the people who was a part of those direct families. You know what I'm saying? Like we come in years later after the impact is known, but those was the people that was there. You understand what I'm saying? So when you see the drugs coming into the community, you know what I'm saying? When you see the the rise of gangs whose goal was not to protect their community, but to extract the wealth from their community. All of these is factors of what happened.
You know what I'm saying? Like all of the history that you hear about from, Reaganomics,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Many of these brothers was drafted, into the wars, came back, different, because of that experience. I'm saying, over there. So, it's no shortage of reasons. Like we would have to sit down and make a list. You know what I'm saying? But the the one thing that I would put, if I had to pick one thing, I would say COINTELPRO happened to them.
Mm. Mm.
Shamar said we became public enemy number one, to be for real. You see what I'm saying? So, all of these different things, even that, it just goes to show you how things can be manipulated. But see, even the rise of the Black middle class, right? Like I said, you got people who they aren't experiencing these same problems.
Right.
You
They
understand what I'm
don't know
saying?
until it's on them, God. As soon as it's on them, then that's when they know.
Yeah. So even in terms of when you deal with different movements, like, don't get me wrong, Elijah Muhammad returning to the essence, that had a certain impact. But it's also that if you look at just the history of it, the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science, a lot of these different movements that you've seen from original people. All right, True Self, thanks for that super chat. Greatly appreciated. But a lot of these movements that you've seen, they were started, like for the Nation of Islam in particular, they were started during the Great Depression. You know what I'm saying? Father Divine, Daddy Grace, a lot of these movements, when they really picked up a lot of steam, was during times where things was very bad for original people.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And, once opportunities started to open up in the 70s and 80s, right? Then people, the individualism started to set in. That, we can accomplish certain things on our own. We don't need to be a part of these whole movements. You know what I'm saying? So, there's no shortage of things that happen, but the main thing is that there was an organized effort to destroy these people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It definitely didn't happen just from happenstance. You know what I mean? There was organized efforts, in every major city to root out and destroy individuals that had any possibility of becoming the Black Messiah. You know what I'm saying? So, right now, like Allah was a target of COINTELPRO.
Like, say that. Know that.
You know what I'm saying? Now, that's not something that you see on the news. It's not something that you see out there like that. You understand what I'm saying? And so you may not realize that that's the case, but nah, that was a much more widely used program than they kind of make it seem right now. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, they make it seem like, well, now it was like 2 or 3 people and 2 or 3 organizations that we directed this at. No, that was directed in total, in full. You know what I'm saying? These different wars on drugs, poverty, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Introducing the drugs in the community. So now you start to, even if these older brothers that might have been in the 60s, right? They might have been in the 60s, but now the young brothers that's supposed to be coming in now, you understand what I'm saying? Meaning, say you got everything is rolling, right? You're going through the 60s, then you get into the 70s, and the young brothers who's supposed to be the new brothers coming in, they're on dope now.
Yeah, that's why they had to come with that, Lord.
Right. You see what I mean? So
wow,
because when you look at a lot of these movements, they show you some of the older people. They show you Martin Luther King, you know what I'm saying? They should, but a lot of the rank and file was college kids.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
That's why so many of them are still alive right now. Or just like we was talking about the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, you know, Fred Hampton was 21, 22.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
So now the new 21 and 22 years old, 21 and 22-year-olds that's supposed to be coming in the late 70s, the early 80s, you know what I'm saying? They're addicted to drugs. You know, they're starting to be caught up in the, prison industrial complex. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, the education is starting to be deteriorated. It's starting to erode, you know, after integration. So that, you know, the Black Panthers, and see, that's a part of the story. They don't, because that doesn't fit in with the narrative, but the Black Panthers was college kids.
Yo, so Lord, look, you think, by a lot of father teaching Messiah, the Messiah was out, you think the Judas would have been around?
You know, there's always been a great incentive for Judas in, you know, the story of Black people in America, you know, because there was always rewards for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this particular dude, you know, I saw on the what's the name said, man, you did all that.
What's the name? We gotta get those shirts. What's the name? We gotta get those shirts. What's the name?
Yeah. But you know, I saw somebody post, you know, when they were saying that, yo, you know, dude did all that because he couldn't handle a 5-year bid. You know what I'm saying? But you know,
wow. Yeah, it's like 10 shekels. That's like the shekels.
Meritorious manumission has been around since the 1600s. You see what I'm saying? So there's always been an incentive for, you know, a brother to turn on the other brothers.
Right. Yeah. But we know the mathematics, we know, understand the cipher degree.
Understand the cipher degree in the 1 to 40?
Right. Tell us why and how. So you know why and how, then you know not to make that more. Yeah, we know. Yeah, you right though. It's definitely gonna be us. It ain't gonna be no white Ku Klux Klan. Remember none of that shit. Somebody, and that's a powerful statement right there, man. That movie, man, Judas and the Messiah, and you know, this, man, that shit powerful, real powerful, man. So,
we'll see what happens. But Samar hit a great point. You know what I'm saying? Is that you know, we got to take the time to explain this, you know what I'm saying, to the young.
Right. That's
you know,
right.
So that they, first of all, could pick up the lessons from it, you know what I'm saying? But then know how to use those lessons in the right way.
See that, know that. That's right. Know that, see that. You right. Right, exact. Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the thing right there, because like I said, you know, and just in terms of, like I said, the social equality that we have right now, just the original man in the wilderness of North America, right? Where, you know, in 1934, right? The 1 to 36 probably applied to 99% of the brothers in the wilderness of North America.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now, the more people that come here, right, or the more people that we have, that's joined a part of our social equality. When I say they joined our social equality, meaning they live in the same neighborhoods, they work at the same jobs, they're starting to share the same experience with us here in the wilderness of North America, right? The more people that we have that wasn't a part of the English C lesson number 1. See, we got people here they from the French lesson and the Spanish lesson. You know what I'm saying? And the English lesson, but they from another a British imperial rule lesson. You see what I mean? So these things don't apply, for all of us. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's not just the young, but for those that is, not necessarily young, but new to the situation. That knowledge and understanding how to be made born. What you said here, Don Bishop, Judas did what he was supposed to do. He was dissatisfied and could not raise above his equality. That's why he sold Jesus out for 33 pieces of silver. That's a reality, but like I said, that's something that's got to be dealt with, in terms of education of the different people that come amongst us, and our education too, in terms of our education of being able to identify these individuals, you know what I'm saying? And, also in the way that we organize ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, you can kill Abraham Lincoln and the show still goes on. See, we find ourselves in too many positions, man, where, you return this person and then you stop the movement. You see what I mean? Because, and I'm not saying this to blame any of the people, but I'm saying that if you find yourself in a position of being a Messiah, because, like I said, everybody, what you do is not going to be on a national plane like that. It might not be on a citywide plane, or, you affect as many people as Martin Luther King or Fred Hampton or whoever the individual might be. But on whatever level you find yourself being a Messiah, right? You got to make sure that, the knowledge and wisdom that you give to the people, that you teach the people how to do these things for themselves. You know what I'm saying? How to save themselves, right? And then, go on ahead and take your position, surpass your position as being a savior to all the people around them.
Yo, Lord, that's like we ain't gonna give you a fish. We're gonna teach you how to fish.
Say it again.
That's not that we're gonna give you a fish. We're gonna teach you how to fish.
You're right. You see what I'm saying? And so, all of these different things in terms of VC realm, when you were saying, why did a lot of parties fail? That's another thing that happened, is that, like, you got a couple of different situations, you know what I'm saying, that you hear about where, like in Chicago, where they were saying that, dudes was stealing money, dudes got convicted of doing crimes, while they were supposed to be doing things to uplift the community. You know what I'm saying? And so, the whole movement got colored with that, as opposed to right now, like Donald Trump, he could get impeached twice, but that's not stopping the Republican Party from existing. That's not stopping them from politicking for what they politicking for. You see what I'm saying? And in every instance where you seen that occurred, you see the same thing. Like even, the story from the Bible. We don't got Mr. Spock. Mr. Spock is not in here today, so we can talk about the Bible. But in the story of the Bible, see, Jesus had to give himself to the people in the form of the different teaching, in the form of the communion with the bread and the wine and all of this, to tell them that I'm inside of you. You got the power that I got. So now when something happens to Jesus, the disciples go out and continue to live out the idea. See, that's what happens, so it's from the standpoint of whoever that leader is, right, to make sure he does it. And it's also from the standpoint of us, you know what I'm saying? The people who we are influenced by these great leaders, that we don't get that Messiah complex. A lot of times we blame the person for having a Messiah complex, but it's also the people. Where you get a Messiah complex where you think, it's nothing you got to do except go and say amen while this brother is doing what he's doing.
Yeah. That's why it's only for a few, man. Only 5%. Everybody ain't gonna want to walk like you said. Everybody ain't gonna want to walk that route. As long as we do our duty, like we got a job to do, we're gonna do his job. One thing about him, he always gonna be him. Like you said, we just gotta be us and win every battle.
Indeed. But other than that, man, we're gonna get up out of here. Like I said, tomorrow at 7:00, we'll be back for the civilization class. Until then, everybody do the each one, teach one, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, share this on your other pages, your Twitter, your Facebook groups, text messages, etc. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Peace to God. Peace, G.O.D. Peace of God.
Peace.